Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to all the devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Here we are beginning on yet another wonderful journey with chapter 15 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Purushottama Yoga, the yoga of the Supreme Person. So this chapter, it begins with the Lord describing, as Prabhuji pointed out, at the beginning of our session today, how the Lord gives us the metaphor of a banyan tree, which is upside down, its roots upward and branches downwards, the leaves of the tree representing the Vedic scriptures or the Vedic hymns or prayers, and one who understands the essence of the truth that this tree represents is said to understand this essence of all the Vedic scriptures. So the very first verse, it begins with Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, of course, because the Lord is speaking these words. Urdhva Moolam. So Urdhva means upwards. Urdhva means upwards. Moola means the root of the tree. So when you say Urdhva Moolam, that means the roots are upwards. It's topsy-turvy, upside down. So Urdhva Moolam, Adha Shakham. So Adha means downwards. So it's like they're opposites. Urdhva, Adha. Up and down, up and down. So those are opposite words. So Adha means downwards. Shakha is the Sanskrit word for branches. So Adha Shakha means the branches being downwards. Ashwatham. Ashwatha is the Sanskrit word for a banyan tree. Prahu Avyayam. That is the next word. So Prahu means, it is said that Prahu means to say something or to talk about something. So when the Lord says, Urdhva Moolam Adha Shakham Ashwatham Prahuravyayam. So so the Lord says, such a tree, such a banyan tree, which has its roots above and branches downwards, that tree is said to be eternal or imperishable. Avyayam means one that cannot be destroyed, one which is everlasting. Chandamsi yasya parnani. So parna means leaves. So the word parna means leaf. So leaf, to be precise, the singular. So when you say parnani, it means many leaves. Of course, the tree doesn't have a single leaf. It has many, many leaves, because we have so many different Vedic scriptures. We have so many hymns. So Chandamsi, the word Chandamsi indicates the Vedic hymns. Yasya Parnani, that means the leaves of this banyan tree, they represent the Vedic scriptures or the Vedic hymns. Yastam Veda Sa Vedavit. So Yastam, Yah meaning anyone who knows this tree. Tam is pointing to the tree itself. So that tree, anyone who knows that tree. The word Veda means to know or to understand. Sa meaning such a person who knows this tree. Vedavit. So Veda means to know. Vedavit indicates the knower of the Veda. So if someone is said to know or understand the Vedas or the scriptures, he or she would be called Vedavit. The Vit is, how do I explain? I think Vit is a word used to indicate someone who is very knowledgeable, someone who has proper, authentic knowledge. So Vedavid means to know the Vedas or to understand the Vedas. So the Lord says, it is said, so Prahu, the word Prahu, so this is where it comes. It is said that there is an imperishable and eternal banyan tree having its roots upwards and its branches downwards. The leaves of this tree are nothing but the Vedic hymns or the Vedic scriptures. One who understands what this tree represents is said to understand the Vedas themselves. Okay, so because we are beginning the first verse, we are beginning the 15th chapter today. Let us start with the short invocation that that we discussed in the previous session. So, Om Shri. We'll repeat this, of course, but we will start with Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha, offering our respects to the Paramatma or Shri Krishna, the Supreme Soul. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, the very auspicious 12 syllable mantra. Prabhuji, I believe, wasn't this the same mantra that Dhruva Maharaj chanted when he was performing penance?
Very good, indeed.
Yeah.
And it's also the mantra that begins the Bhagavad Puran. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And because we are beginning the first chapter, the word to indicate the beginning would be Atha. So, like at the end of the chapter, we discussed last, when we completed the 12th chapter, we used the word Iti to indicate the end. Iti, Iti is to indicate the end, and Atha is to indicate the beginning. So, because this is chapter 15 in Sanskrit, if you look at, if you go through the list of the numbers that we shared in the group last week, the number 15 in Sanskrit is called Pancha Dasha. Pancha meaning 5, Dasha meaning 10. So 5 plus 10 is 15. So Pancha Dasha. And the word Adhyaya means chapter. So the 15th chapter, if we were to begin the 15th chapter, we would say Atha Panchadashodhyaya. That will be how we begin. So let's all chant this together. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Atha Panchadashodhyayah.
Atha Panchadashodhyayah.
Atha Panchadashodhyayah.
अथ
पञ्चदशोऽध्यायः
अथ पञ्चदशोऽध्यायः
अथ पञ्चदशोऽध्यायः
श्रीभगवान् उवाच
श्रीभगवानुवाच
ऊर्ध्वमूलम्
ऊर्ध्वमूलम् ऊर्ध्वमूलम्
अधः शाखम् अधः शाखम् ऊर्ध्वमूलम् अधः शाखम् ऊर्ध्वमूलम् अधः शाखम् ऊर्ध्वमूलम् अधः शाखम् अश्वत्थम् प्राहुरव्ययम् अश्वत्थम् प्राहुरव्ययम् अश्वत्थम् प्राहुरव्ययम् ऊर्ध्वमूलम् अधः शाखम् अश्वत्थम् प्राहुरव्ययम् ऊर्ध्वमूलम् अधः शाखम् अश्वत्थम् प्राहुरव्ययम् ऊर्ध्वमूलम् अधः शाखम् अश्वत्थम् प्राहुरव्ययम् छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद यस्तं वेद स वेदवित्
Vedati. Oh, sorry. Vedaviti. Vedaviti.
Vedavit, that's it. You
Vedavita.
yeah, it's just we don't pronounce it fully. It's just a little bit, just enough to know that it is there.
Okay.
We don't emphasize on the ta very much, because you see that line below the letter ta in the Devanagari, in the Sanskrit script.
Oh.
So that indicates that it is like sort of half. Vedavit. Yes,
Vedavit.
exactly. Yes, tam veda sa vedavit.
Yes.
Tam
Vedavit.
Yes, tam veda sa vedavit.
Yes. Tam Veda Vedavit.
Chandamsi yasya parnani.
Chandamsi yasya parnani.
Yes, tam veda sa vedavit.
Yes, tam Veda Vedavit.
Shri Bhagavan uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan
Uvacha.
Urdhvamulam adha shakham.
Urdhvamulam adhashakam.
Ashwatham prahur avyayam.
Ashvatham prahuravyayam.
Chandamsi yasya parnani.
Chandamsi yasya parnani.
Yastam veda sa vedavit.
Yes, Tam Veda
Vedavit.
Shri Bhagavan uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Urdhvamulam adha shakham.
Urdhvamulam adhashakam
Ashwatham prahur avyayam.
Ashvatham prahur avyayam
Chandamsi yasya parnani.
Chandamsi yasya parnani
Yastam veda sa vedavit.
Yes, Tam Veda Vedavit
Shri Bhagavan uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Urdhvamulam adha shakham.
Urdhvamulam adhashakam
Ashwatham prahur avyayam.
Ashvatham prahur avyayam
Chandamsi yasya parnani.
Chandamsi yasya parnani
Yastam veda sa vedavit.
Yes, Tam Veda Vedavit
Okay. So can we go around reciting this one by one? And it's up to you all really. Would you like to recite just the verse, or would you also like to maybe go through the invocatory words as well? It's entirely up to you. We do have enough time for each of us to do that. So anything that suits the devotees.
I think it'd be
Can
good
I
to
start?
go
Can I
through the
start?
geometry.
Yeah. Yes. Mataji, yes, of course.
Okay. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Atha Panchadashodhyayaha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Urdhvamulam madhasakham. Ashwatham prahuravyayam. Chandamsi yasya parnani. Yastam Veda Savedavid. Sorry, I couldn't get your tune.
Oh, no. The tune doesn't matter at all, Mataji. You were perfect. It was beautiful. Very nice. Very nice. Very, very nice. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Shruti.
Hare Krishna. That was a good start. Who would like to go next?
I can do the verse itself. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Udva Mulam Adashakam Ashwatham Prahur Avyayam Chandamshi Yasya Parnani Yastam Ved Sa Vedavet.
Yay, very nice. we rarely get to hear you say the verses. So this is a
Now
good.
this chapter you will, because I need to learn it. Very
That's
good.
good. Very nice. Thank you, Prabhuji. Who would like to go next? Sorry.
Can I try, Shruti ji?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, please. Of course.
Om Paramatmane Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Urdhva Mulam Adha Shakham. Ashwatham Prahur Avyayam. Chandamsi Yasya Parnani. Yastam Veda Savedavita.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you.
Shruti.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Very nice. Hare Krishna.
Can I try?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, of course.
Om Shri Paramatma Namo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Artho Panchodasho Adhayo. Purushottama Yoga. Shri Bhagavano Vacho. Artho Mulo Adho Shakham. Ashastham Prahur Abhayam. Chandamshi Esha Parnami Jartam Vedosho Vedavid.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Can I have a go, Shruti ji?
Yes, Mataji. Please.
Om Sri Paramatmane Namaha. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Urdhvam Mulam Adham Shakham. Aswatam Prahuryam. Prahuryam. Chandasi yasya parnani. Yastam Veda Savedavitta.
Very nice. Just the end of the first line. The easy way to remember is Prahur, like you pronounce the R at the end of the word, Prahur, and then the next one would be Avyayam.
Prahur Avyayam.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect. Very good.
Hare
Very
Krishna.
good. Hare Krishna.
Can I try, Shruti Devi?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, of course.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Om
Krishna.
Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Urdhva Mulam Adha Shakham. Aswastham Prahur Avavyam. छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यः तं वेद स वेदवित्.
Very nice. The first line, could you repeat it again, Mataji, please?
ऊर्ध्वमूलम् अधशाखम् अस्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययम्.
Avyayam.
Sorry.
Avyayam. Okay, let's break this up. So let's break it up into
Avyayam.
exactly. There you go. You got it.
Thank you.
Avyayam. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Who else did all of us have a chance? Did I miss out on anyone?
Dandavat Nitai Gaura Haribol. Can I try, please?
Haribol Prabhuji, yes, yes, please.
Hare Krishna Nitai
Hare
Gaura.
Krishna.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Urdhva Moolam Adha Shakham. Asvatham Prahuravyayam. Chandansi Yasya Parnani. Yastam Veda Sa Vedavid.
Beautiful, beautiful, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Right. I think we have all had a chance, haven't we? Yes?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Masaji. Thank you. Oh, well, Prabhuji, we have had one round of chanting the first verse.
Yes. Is anybody else want to have a go at all? I'm just thinking.
We do have some more time.
Yes. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, Shruti,
Yes, Prabhuji?
it might be good to just read
Yeah.
the purport, because we have time. It's good to just read
Right.
the explanation by Srila Prabhupada. Would you like to do that? Are you able to see the screen okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. I have the same page open on my laptop here on the side.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm only using the phone for the audio.
Okay.
For the phone. I have the same page open on my laptop as well.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay. So
Okay.
if you like, yeah, please read. That'd be good.
Yeah, I'll read that, but of course we need you to explain it to us.
You are actually very knowledgeable.
Oh, no, Prabhuji, not at all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I'll read it, and of course we are counting on you to help us understand.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
After the discussion of the importance of Bhakti Yoga, one may question, what about the Vedas? It is explained in this chapter that the purpose of Vedic study is to understand Krishna. Therefore, one who is in Krishna consciousness, who is engaged in devotional service, already knows the Vedas. The entanglement of this material world is compared here to a banyan tree. For one who is engaged in fruitive activities, there is no end to the banyan tree. He wanders from one branch to another, to another, to another. The tree of this material world has no end, and for one who is attached to this tree, there is no possibility of liberation. The Vedic hymns meant for elevating oneself are called the leaves of this tree. This tree's roots grow upward because they begin from where Brahma is located, the topmost planet of this universe. If one can understand this indestructible tree of illusion, then one can get out of it. This process of extrication should be understood. In the previous chapters, it has been explained that there are many processes by which to get out of the material entanglement. And up to the 13th chapter, we have seen that devotional service to the Supreme Lord is the best way. Now, the basic principle of devotional service is detachment from material activities and attachment to the transcendental service of the Lord. The process of breaking the attachment to the material world is discussed in the beginning of this chapter. The root of this material existence grows upward. This means that it begins from the total material substance, from the topmost planet of the universe. From there, the whole universe is expanded with so many branches representing the various planetary systems. The fruits represent the results of the living entity's activities, namely religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Now, there is no ready experience in this world of a tree situated with its branches down and its roots upward. But there is such a thing. That tree can be found beside a reservoir of water. We can see that the trees on the bank reflect upon the water with their branches down and their roots up. In other words, the tree of this material world is only a reflection of the real tree of the spiritual world. The reflection of the spiritual world is situated on desire, just as a tree's reflection is situated on water.
Thank you.
Desire is the cause of things being situated in this reflected material light. One who wants to get out of this material existence must know this tree thoroughly through analytical study. Then he can cut off his relationship with it. This tree, being the reflection of the real tree, is an exact replica. Everything is there in the spiritual world. The impersonalists take Brahman to be the root of this material tree, and from the root, according to Sankhya philosophy, come Prakriti, Purusha, then the three gunas or the modes of nature, then the five gross elements, the Pancha Mahabhuta, then the 10 senses, the Dashendriya, mind, etc. In this way, they divide up the whole material world into 24 elements. If Brahman is the center of all manifestations, then this material world is a manifestation of the center by 180 degrees, and the other 180 degrees constitute the spiritual world. The material world is the perverted reflection. So, the spiritual world must have the same variegatedness, but in reality. The Prakriti is the external energy of the Supreme Lord, and the Purusha is the Supreme Lord Himself, and that is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Since this manifestation is material, it is temporary. A reflection is temporary, for it is sometimes seen and sometimes not seen. But the origin from whence the reflection is reflected is eternal. The material reflection of the real tree has to be cut off. When it is said that a person knows the Vedas, it is assumed that he knows how to cut off attachment to this material world. If one knows that process, he actually knows the Vedas. One who is attracted by the ritualistic formulas of the Vedas is attracted by the beautiful green leaves of the tree. He does not exactly know the purpose of the Vedas. The purpose of the Vedas, as disclosed by the personality of Godhead himself, is to cut down this reflected tree and attain the real tree of the spiritual world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. It's very deep purport.
Very deep
And,
indeed.
I just wanted to share one thing, if I can do that. And it's just a diagrammatically try to understand this. Sometimes it's a little easier if we do it through visual rather than just the words. So this is the spiritual world. And what Krishna is explaining is this banyan tree, which has the roots going up and the branches going down, is a perverted reflection that we see in our world. And that is the banyan tree, which is upside down. It's a reflection of the real spiritual world. This is the real world. And we're living in the material world, which is temporary. And there's so many different branches, so many different leaves. And all of these are just, the more we act, the more we do karma, the deeper this tree grows. And it becomes very, very difficult to cut ourselves off from this tree of Maya and attach ourselves with the spiritual world. But Krishna explains in the Gita that through detachment, I think that's the next verse, through detachment, the weapon of detachment, one can cut down this tree, cut it down, so that we don't remain in this world where there's so many different activities like economic development, religiosity, sense enjoyment, sinful acts, getting entangled in the Vedic scriptures if we don't understand the purpose of them. And then doing pious deeds, which again, they will still bind us into this world. Because whether we do pious or impious, they're still going to keep us here. Of course, we don't want to do impious, but we want to do those acts which will take us out of this world. So this is a really interesting picture, and we'll go through this on one of the Fridays in a little bit more detail. But this just gives an idea of this verse. Anything you'd like to add, Shruti?
Nothing, Prabhuji. It's just that we're looking forward to. I think now that you mention it, this Friday you mentioned as Ekadashi, right?
Ji, that's right.
So I think the Friday after that, I think we'll be doing the second half of chapter 14.
14, and then the Friday after that will be.
That will be this chapter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so we could close it at that. Unless there's any questions by anybody or any comments. But this was a fantastic start, Shruti. Really fantastic start to chapter 15. Well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the opportunity as always. If you or the devotees hadn't suggested that we start something like this, I may not even have thought about it, or I may not have had the chance to participate.
Somehow I think the Lord would have always engaged you.
Yeah,